Hey, what's up there? Welcome to my Hackney Sweets. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and watch my previous content if you haven't already. But anyway, I wanted to come and talk to you guys about Trump stating that he was going to remove public housing, I guess Section 8, low-income housing, apartments, buildings, and stuff from out of the suburbs so those suburbanites can have their property value and everything go back up and things like that. That's how that would benefit them from them removing that. Um, as well as them not having to share resources with those who they feel are not giving into their communities enough. And everyone ran with that and was like, Trump is racist. That's the racist ploy to get blacks and Latinos and other minorities from out of the suburban areas, which would used to be anyway, predominantly white and all white, I guess you could say. Well, technically, the people who ran with that and that was their first start are actually the ones who are racist and at bare minimum have a misconceived notion, ideology, perception, and prejudice to think that that would be black and Latino families. And I am here to let you guys know that's not the truth. The majority of the people who are on the welfare, Section 8, other government handouts, it's not blacks and Latinos, although they love to make you think that. The majority and number one consumer recipients of welfare in Section 8 and public housing and stuff are white people, not black, not Latino. They actually, blacks and Latinos combined will come near whites and how much of those resources they actually take up. So that's one thing you got to be careful with when you're running to say, especially these white liberals, when you're running to try and say that a person is being racist against a minority, make sure that you are not reaching and that it is not a lump sum generalization. Because when I was reading it, I was offended that they assume that affects that he's doing that towards us. Now, I'm about to tell you what's actually going on. Whether Trump was stating that to be racist or not really isn't the point that I want to make. The point that I want to make is that is going to affect poor whites the most. Majority of minorities living in the suburbs are well-to-do, middle class to wealthy. They are not the ones using the resources in that community of Section 8 government assistance and things like that. And the reason why they did that, that's why if you go into a lot of, well, at least here in Michigan, if you were to go into the certain places of the suburbs, right, they're going to have Section 8 housing, Section 8 apartments, as well as trailers. They have like these sections for trailers, and it was for them to be able to house their poor whites so they would not have to go into the urban community where the resources and money is normally being stolen, mishandled and funneled into the suburban neighborhoods. It was so they could still reap the benefits of certain tax perks of the school system there, things like that, so they can have that zip code to benefit from the resources being delegated to that community. So when I read it, I just laughed because I was just thinking like, I wonder how many dumb poor whites or dumb upper whites are going to actually see this for what it is. It's going to hit them the hardest if Trump was to implement a plan to remove Section 8 public housing and low-income housing and apartments from out of the suburbs. That is who it will target. And that's why I want y'all to sit back and pay attention, because I also wanted to watch this story to see how it goes, to see if those suburban white homeowners in suburbs are going to actually feel like, right, they of course was given the skin of privilege and opportunity. If they fumbled the ball, too bad on them. Take your butt to the urban communities, to the cities. Or if, which is what I'm thinking is going to happen, is a lot of them are going to look at it like, oh no, I have my lower income daughter, my lower income grandchildren, my lower income son, or whoever it is, who this would actually hurt, and they will decide to vote against that or create another plan mechanism to where if the plan is implemented, they can still secure their skin folk, and it will very minimally affect blacks, because the majority of the blacks, Latinos, and those communities are not even using Section 8 or low-income housing or things of that sort. And then the other thing I was looking at that'd be interesting is when, if this all goes through, and when these poor whites have to move into the cities, urban communities, what changes and uproars will they make here? I bet you then they are going to care about how the cities in these urban communities money is being handled and delegated. They are going to make sure money is put back into these neighborhoods. I know that much. So actually, black people, Latinos, minorities, it actually might benefit you if they if Trump does do this, because it's going to be kicking all of those white people out who are used to privilege, although they are although they are poor, because a lot of people believe that money means privilege, having access to money means privilege. But no, whites have set up a system to have the money, but that if they don't, they can still receive privileges and resources that are not given to others who aren't in those communities and aren't of that skin folk. So I was thinking, like, they're probably going to come here to the cities, urban communities, and they are going to be demanding that it's better lighting, that the streets are taken care of, that they're going to take care of, because here in Detroit we had a big issue some years back with public transportation, and they had created the smart bus, which was to get out to the suburbs, but a lot of black people were losing their vehicles, or insurance here was so freaking high that they couldn't afford car insurance, would be harassed by the police and have their vehicles confiscated or have their licenses suspended and stuff. So then they would need public transportation to get to these good jobs, and did not have the public transportation to be able to do that. And it was a big uproar about it, because they were trying to ice out blacks from being able to go get these better paying jobs. And it was funny, because I remember some years ago I was applying for a certain position, and a woman was telling me after we did the interview and I had got the job and stuff, she was like, well, I just want to let you know this, we have these locations, I'm going to let you choose which location. She was like, at this location, which was in the suburbs, she's like, they paid this amount of money, and this is the type of work, it's pretty simple, pretty easy over there, right? But this was all what would you call it, what do they call these type of jobs? I don't know, I'm just say blue collar. So she was like, and I just want you to know, but this location, they pay less, and this is the kind of work that they do. It was in a city. And what was astonishing to me, and I appreciated her honesty, and she even gave me some insight about some other stuff, but I appreciated her honesty, because what she was letting me know is, if you go out here to the suburb, which they know is going to be harder for a lot of the black people to get to, but I'm going to offer it to them anyway for those who can, we're going to pay you more, and we're not going to have you doing as strenuous of a job. But in this location over here, which was in the urban city community, we're going to pay you less, and it's closer to you, and we're going to work you more, though. And I appreciated her for letting me know that. I could even tell in her, oh, that's a mosquito. I can even tell in her that she has a problem with how they setting things up at that job that she works at, that corporation. But she wanted to at least try and do her part to be fair, by not railroading all of the minorities into saying, no, we're only going to put you here in the city, in this area. She was like, no, I'm going to be upfront with you about what the two jobs actually are, where they're located at, and how you're going to be paid based off of that, and how you're going to be worked based off of that. So these are things that go on from living in the suburbs versus in the urban communities. They will take resources from out of the urban communities and funnel it to benefit the suburbs or whatever. Like here in Detroit, they are paying about $8,000 per child in the suburbs. Where here in the urban city, I believe they're only paying like $1,000, $1,100, somewhere between $900 to $1,100 per student here, where all of that money is going out there. And guess what? Ask yourself, where exactly is this money coming from? Because their money to aid them like that is not just coming from their communities, their only their tax dollars and their home equity value and all of that type of stuff. No, they also take money, because there was a big to do about that here. They have been taking money from the city, taking the city's resources and dividing it and giving a certain portion of it to the suburbs. But anyway, so I believe that if Trump does do this, and those poor whites have to come here, they are going to demand certain changes, because they're going to want to still have the same benefits and resources and opportunities that they were given when they were able to still have a certain zip code in the suburbs to receive it. So I think, low-key, it might actually be a good thing, because we know that as much as we demand and work and try hard in our communities for the government officials to do right by us, the representatives to do right by us, they don't. And that underlying reason is racism. And whether Trump is saying this based off racism or not, it's actually going to screw poor whites and might ultimately end up benefiting blacks in urban communities. So that's all I wanted to say to you guys about that. We're going to keep our eyes on it to see how these white people, the affluent ones, react to it. Are they going to be smart enough and see like, oh, okay, no, this is going to affect my children who aren't well established in a career or making money like that? Or would they be like, to hell with them, yeah, get them out of there? Let's look and watch and see. Y'all have a good day. Make sure to subscribe.